Back to Black Talk Today podcast, and I'm your host, Troy. Thank you for being here. Another great episode to get into along the way. Again, I want to say thank you for every viewer and every person that has clicked on this video and that has subscribed to the channel. Again, I have the utmost respect and appreciation for you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe to me at Black Talk Today. That is the mother page, in the chain that continues this network from growing and supports all the other networks and channels that I have that I'm pushing here on YouTube. So once you go over there and subscribe to Black Talk Today, you'll find all my social media links, so on and etc. over there. But a lot to get into today. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 47. This is episode 48, of course. Episode 47, we was talking about the white experience. Black men deserve the white experience as well. And if you didn't watch that episode, go check it out. Episode 47. It was a great one. And this, of course, is episode 48. And we got so much to get into. Again, as I addressed prior, I want to address again. We have over 20 victims at this point in time that were casualties in the Bronx fire that occurred this Sunday that just passed, where 9 children were found to have passed away, and adults as well, due to a catastrophic fire that occurred in Tremont area of Bronx, New York. Again, I want to send my condolences over to those families and every person affected by that particular event. I can't begin to think how folks are feeling. I can't begin to understand the pain, but I want to show empathy, and I want to send again my condolences from my family in this channel over to all of those folks over there that have experienced loss. Human life is obviously more valuable than any materialistic item and thing. And I also want to send my great appreciation to the FDNY. You guys showed up and showed out, along with other local fire departments that showed up and contributed to the assisting of helping citizens that were trapped in that building. Over 200 firemen and firewomen showed up to assist and save lives. We could have had more than the amount of deaths that we have tallied up at this moment if those brave firefighters did not, do what they did. And again, that's a profession, in the industry that I feel just doesn't get enough attention, doesn't get enough respect, doesn't get enough acknowledgement. And for the most part, I want to do that. I'm always going to want to acknowledge and give my respects to the frontline workers who put their lives every day on the line for strangers. Again, that's one of the most beautiful expressions that human beings can show one another by sacrificing your life. And listen, there were reports of firemen and women not wanting to leave the building even though their oxygen tanks were depleted, because they wanted to ensure that everyone that was in harm's way were no longer in harm's way. Again, that shows character, and that shows love, that shows dedication, that shows determination. If that isn't a love language, I don't know what is. And from what's being reported so far, this particular fire was started by a faulty space heater. And the more and more information is released, it's starting to sound like this incident could have been prevented. There's still a preliminary investigation underway. We're going to get more information out, and I'm going to bring you guys more information. But I hate to start this podcast off with such dreadful news, but it is what it is. Like, I got to be honest, and I got to address this up front because it needs to be addressed, you know. But again, let's get into the podcast. What has been reported up until this point in time is that the actual apartment that this actual fire started in was an apartment that was occupied by a family of 10. You had 8 children, a mother and a father, and not that it matters, but they were migrants from Africa, and the father admitted that he, played a role in possibly the reason why countless other people died. And he admitted that in his attempts to save his children, opening the stairway doors to its complete capacity and causing it to remain open, allowed the smoke to then chimney up the staircase to other floors in the building. And if you ever lived in a project, so if you lived in these type of public tenement buildings, those doors are specifically set up in such a way to close by themselves automatically. Once you open them, they close behind you. But he opened it up to, beyond capacity of its operation, and it remained open. And being that the fire started on his floor in his apartment, the smoke then just funneled up, and a lot of souls were lost due to the smoke inhalation. Unfortunately, a lot of the casualties was found in stairways, trying to escape, but they couldn't escape because they were inhaling all of the smoke. And I think this is one of the biggest casualty fires that civilians have experienced in this nature in New York City in years. And there might be a redress of how these people are housed in these tenement buildings. I think there need to be a sit down on the board of public safety and come to the conclusion that housing hundreds of families in these high-rise buildings with 2 exits most of the time, a right and a left exit in an elevator that will bring you from whatever upper floor you're on downstairs. And normally when there's a fire, those elevators are not operational, or they're not meant to be. Then you have 2 stairways, a right and a left one, to exit the building. And if you have smoke coming up those stairways, it's no way you're going to be able to get out. It's like a death trap, literally. Take it from me, somebody that grew up in a project, somebody that know how those buildings are set up. They're not set up for you to get out as quickly and effectively as possible. At least they thought they would be. If those doors would remain operational the way they were meant to be operational, they would then keep the fire sustained in that one floor area where the smoke would not escape and contained, and it would not affect the upper floors where other people were dwelling at, and people will still be able to get down those stairways and escape with their lives. But that's wishful thinking, because now we see when you're under duress and your children are involved and possibly in harm's way, you're not thinking, well, let me close the door behind me. You're not thinking with the best interest of everyone else's survival at that moment, let me say. You're thinking about the preservation of your family and your life. And there needs to be a readdress of how people are living in these occupied space. But I don't even understand how 10 people were living in an apartment. Like, they were breaking code because that apartment was overoccupied. In the projects, they don't have 10-bedroom apartments. They had 8 children and 2 adults. So you were living in a hazardous situation, as is. As is. You're running a space heater on top of that. It's a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. And I didn't want to get too far into my personal feelings on the circumstances of why would a man keep having kid after kid after kid and then bring them to another country and have them living in circumstances of such. If you're not able to take care of your responsibilities, then you shouldn't put them in situations that could be dire to their day-to-day survival. And you might say, well, it's easier said than done. Well, yeah, it's easier said than done if you're a reasonable person, if you're an honest person, a respectable person. I did it. I made 1 child. And I thought not to keep procreating beyond my means. And not that I can't take care of more than 1 child, but I didn't want to keep having a chain of children come from my lineage that I'm not going to be able to father. And I didn't want to have a woman that was going to have my children that wasn't my wife. See, these are decisions that folks make. And as horrible as this situation is, folks make decisions. Now I'm going to read to you guys a bit of an article that was posted from the New York Post. This isn't from me. This is what the New York Post is reporting. The dad in the Bronx apartment where the Sunday's deadly blaze began acknowledged to the New York Post on Monday that he apparently pushed the front door back so far trying to save his daughter that it got stuck. Stricken Mamadou Wagu, 47, said he didn't even realize the door was left open until he was told about it by the fire officials later. Authorities said earlier Monday that the apartment door was supposed to be self-closing but may have malfunctioned, sending smoke soaring through the 19-story structure and killing at least 17 people. When you push the door all the way to the edge, it didn't close by itself, said Wagu, 47, who was in the apartment with his wife and 8 kids when the fire started. It's very sad. I don't even remember the door staying open because all I could think about was getting everybody out, he said. I actually thought later that the door had shut, but the fire department told me it had stayed open. I feel very, very sorry for the people who died, he said. I'm praying for them. I'm praying for everybody. This man is a native of Gambia. Said he would sleep shortly after 11 a.m. Sunday when his children's screams woke up after their electric space heater apparently sparked the blaze. I heard my kids screaming fire, fire in their room, he said. I just got up and ran back there. I told them everybody get out, and everybody got out. When we were downstairs, I was told my daughter, Nafisha, was still in her bed, so I ran back up. There was fire everywhere on the mattress on my daughter. She had burns on her right side. When there's so much smoke and fire, all you can think is, if I don't get out of here, I will die, he said. I went back for my daughter. The dad said, I could only think about getting her out, getting her safe. I burned my face and got her out, and I didn't even feel it until much later. He said his daughter and his wife remained in the hospital. The mayor, Eric Adams, urge residents in future and similar situations to close doors behind them to contain the flames and smoke. I feel so many different ways about this situation, because we know who the tenement buildings are built for in our communities. The tenement buildings are built for women and children. Let's call it for what it is. Only women and children are supposed to be there, but of course, men find themselves there. When the inspectors come and do the inspection on the unit to see who's living in the dwellings, what most of the time these women do, they hide that man's Timberland boots in the closet. They hide that man's polo jacket in the closet. They hide every trace that a man is residing with them in these tenement apartments, because they want to continue to live off the government. They want to continue to get the subsidies that's being afforded to them. And they feel like they're getting over because they get to have the apartment, they get to keep the subsidies, but they also want to keep the man. And my thing again, it just doesn't make sense, right? Prior to us, or at least prior to a lot of black women over 50 years ago choosing the government assistance over the black family, the black nuclear family, the father, the mother, and the child, we were a family. We were a family of 3 in a home. And we depended on each other to survive. And now today, it's a shame that you see young girls, soon as they get pregnant, they go down and they apply for Section 8. Soon as they get pregnant, they go down and apply for housing. Most of the time, they're not even trying to figure out, well, how you and the father can come together and get an apartment together and live as a family. Even though you might struggle, at least y'all together and y'all living as a family. But they'd rather struggle by themselves in their own apartment, away from the man, so that at least they can have that independence. But is it really independence? And are you really raising that child? You're maintaining that child at best. The government is really providing what the father should be providing. But then again, in the black community, we see who's creating the babies. It's a small percentage of black men that are creating these type of babies, right? And the babies that I'm talking about are the babies who are living in these conditions with these women who are single, who are choosing to be single and to remain in these conditions. And they're choosing specifically certain type of black men, because they don't want to, they want control. I did a video on my channel the other day on Black Talk Today. These black women want control. That's why they remain in these circumstances. That's why they don't mind going on the public assistance. That's why they don't mind playing a victim, because of all that it brings. And I hate to go down this lane right now because of this story, but it is what it is. It's 2022. The truth need to be told and need to be stood on. The facts are the facts. I'm not making this up. A man with 8 kids, living in the projects. You couldn't make enough money to take care of those 8 kids. See, the thing about foreign women, though, and foreign people, they don't necessarily put their own on child support. So he can be married to this woman, of course, but the thing is, legally, she ain't going to tell the state who her husband is. She ain't going to tell the state that technically, she's married back in Gambia. Because she didn't get married here in this country. There's no record of it. So this is just a man that's there. So in all reality, the state is looking at it like this is a woman that has 8 kids, and she just can't control her womb. So we got to give her all the assistance that she needs. So she needs an apartment. But in all reality, most of the time, these women, they are with men that they are they're married to back home. But they're here living as a married couple, and they're living off the government, living off my tax-paying dollars, scamming the government, scamming other hard-working American people who can't get the benefits that they get, but they get to make 8 kids. How you get to make 8 kids in 2022? Whether you brought them from Gambia or whether you had them here, how do you get to live with all of that? It's outstanding to me. Kids sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the mattress. They said also that it was the mattress with the plastic that was on the floor that was the space heater, was in close vicinity of the space heater, and possibly the heat from the space heater inflamed the plastic, and that's what sparked the fire. Well, you got 8 people in the projects, 10 people in a project apartment. You're barely able to get by with 3 in those apartments. You got 10 people in that apartment. There's bound to be an issue that's going to occur at some point in time. Those apartments are only so big. But you got 19 people that died. You still got people who are in the hospital who are suffering, who are still fighting for their lives. People don't understand, living in the projects like this, in these tall tenement buildings, no one's not naturally supposed to be cooped up like that. That's not a normal way of living. That's not a healthy way of living. Again, I'm telling you, I've come from those kind of environments. I wouldn't live like that. And if I was poor, I wouldn't bring children into this world to live like that. That's selfish, man. You can look at it whatever way you want to look at it. But at the end of the day, somebody has to be responsible. Somebody has to be responsible. I don't wish this on anybody. I don't wish this experience on anybody. 19 people died, and it could be more. That number could still continue to rise, as far as we know. This all could have been prevented. And it's wintertime. Listen, before I continue on with this video, I would want everybody listening, go out and get a fire extinguisher, right? You can get one for $20, $30 at most. I've seen on Amazon. It's very, very cheap. It's not expensive. To have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen, a fire extinguisher in your bedroom. Because you can be a preventative measure to protecting your life and allowing your family to have enough time to escape if there's any kind of fire that occurs in your home. That's being proactive, and that's thinking with the best interests of your loved ones, and also, especially if you're renting, thinking with the best interests of the homeowner or the apartment's property in that building. And also the consideration of other people that are living in close proximity of you, whether that's your neighbors, etc. It's very inexpensive. Everyone, we like to fry food, we like to bake food. Everybody should have a fire extinguisher in their home. And I know it might be foreign to a lot of black folks because we like, what? Fire extinguisher? Well, all we needed, we grew up, we didn't have no fire extinguisher. You need a fire extinguisher in your home. You need one. You don't know what can happen. Surge protectors, electric surge protectors. We all use extension cords. I have things plugged in right now with extension cords, but I have the extension cords that have the surge protectors in them, so that any electronic device that I have plugged in, hey, if there's a shortage in it, if there's a malfunction, that surge protector immediately shuts it down. It's not supplying any more power to that particular outlet. That's being preventative, guys. That's being adult. That's being an adult, guys. We got to stop and start thinking about tomorrow and stop just living for today. Again, I want to send my condolences over to everybody that are that's suffering. It's cold in the middle of January. This is the worst time for this to happen. I know we wouldn't want this to happen at all if it could have been prevented, but it's the worst time to happen. Kids are traumatized. Where are they going to go? If you can donate to the Red Cross. Because I'm sure they're doing their thing down there in New York City, in the Bronx, trying to help those families recover and get back what they have lost. You know you're going to have folks that are going to need some type of mental health. See a therapist or something of that nature. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a traumatizing event. We are human beings at the end of the day. We are not robots. Sometimes we need people to sit down and talk to. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's very important to point out. Yeah, so let's talk about the underreporting of molestation that goes on in the black community by mothers. Right? That doesn't get reported as often as the molestation that occurs in the black community that gets reported when fathers or males do it. And the reason why I'm particularly even addressing this particular topic is recently because of the Jim Jones recent admission of the fact that his mother taught him how to tongue kiss by putting her tongue in his mouth. And it was one of the most disgusting things that I ever heard of. And it's a clear sign of pedophilia and child molestation. Whether you like it or not, if a man said, hey, my young daughter didn't know how to tongue kiss, so when she was 12 or 13 years old, I decided to put my full-grown tongue down her throat to teach her how to tongue kiss because she didn't know how to tongue kiss. Women would be outraged. If a black woman came out, and God forbid if she was a black celebrity woman, there would have been a ton of women rallying behind her along with the Me Too movement. Oh, look at me, woe me, victim me. Help me. I've been living with this secret my entire life. My dad put his tongue down my throat, and you know what? It traumatized me with men. It traumatized me in my workplace. It traumatized me throughout my life, and this is my truth, and we gotta respect it. Society says you gotta respect it, and rightfully so. Molestation. Most of the time, adults, we carry along the trauma that we experience as kids that is unaddressed because, for one, most of the time in the black community, ain't no daddies around. You're going to have strange men or men that didn't make your ass because most of the time the mother want to raise you by themselves, excuse me. And they're going to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry that they go through a relationship with and fall out of love with and keep moving on because they ain't looking to be married. They ain't looking to be wives. So, yeah, you're going to have a large possibility of possibly being molested by a strange man. Because guess what? You ain't got no daddy in your home. Then mama didn't prioritize you having a daddy. She wanted to be a boss. She wanted to be independent, and she wanted to be on all the government assistance that they have to give her. But what's required for her to get that? You not being in the picture. My line of flying. I tell you, man, you know how many black men can tell you stories that are similar to Jim Jones about shit that they have seen their mama do to them, or shit that they have seen their mama doing. You know how many black men, the first titty or the first ass that they saw, the first vagina that they saw was their black mama's vagina, because their mama couldn't have enough common sense and respect for themselves and decency to put some motherfucking clothes on instead of walking around the house with them naked while they 10 years old. Walking around in a thong. Oh, I'm his mama. He saw me already. He ain't looking at me like that. He 10 years old. He 8 years old. Why you think Big Mama always had a nightgown on and a goddamn big ass overcoat and always had her hands on her overcoat when she came out the back room? Because she understood that there's certain things kids are not supposed to see. But today women do whatever the fuck they want to do. You can't tell them shit, let alone they're not married, so ain't nobody to put no real pressure on them. And they raising you alone. And that's one of the fundamental problems within our community, in our culture, in our race here in America. Ain't nobody else going to tell us that how we live in is wrong. Ain't nobody else going to tell us how we live in is abnormal. Nobody else going to tell us that. If we waiting for white folks to come and tell us, yo, how y'all living is wrong, y'all need to listen, ain't happening. But unfortunately for us, we need a goddamn celebrity to tell us, yo, y'all need to straighten up. We need a goddamn ball player to tell us, yo, y'all need to straighten up. Listen, man, the double standard is real. It's disgusting, but it's real. Because what's sad is, every goddamn day, you go to communities like where this fire occurred at, you see single mothers and children. But you know what else you see? Look at the boys. These women are jobless most of the time. Or they work, 10 hours a week just to keep their subsidies going. Most of the time, they're getting rent assistance, stipends, food assistance, an allowance, everything else, free medical coverage, because they had children. So they need all of the help. Look at their boys. Look how they dress them. They dress their boys in ways that tells you that this is the type of men that they're attracted to. They put 2-year-old toddlers in Jordans and full polo suits. They put 5-year-olds in Timberland boots and fitted hats. In the ghetto, you have nothing. You're poor. You're getting assistance because you can't make it on your own. But you're dressing your child because you want your child to look like the men that you would date, the men that you would screw, the men that you would open your legs up to. We don't peep that psychologically in the black culture because, again, black men, you're not really supposed to have a voice or opinion about any of it. You're just there to supply women with dick and attention. That's been our role the last 50 years. Dick and attention. See, these women, they want you to be an old school man, but they're not old school women. They're modern women. They'll tell you in a fucking second they don't need you. But then they want you to cater to them and open the door for them and protect them when it's convenient for them. That's not how this shit works. And it's sad and it's perverted. How many children let's be real, how many people, if you watch, listen, you probably got women in your family that say this shit all the time, because I got in my family and they say it. My son is the man of the house. He the man of the house. And you don't understand, ladies, how that handicaps that boy. You haven't provided a decent male role model for him because you chose a man that ain't shit. Right? Y'all keep choosing the same type of black man. Even though there's other iterations of black men out there. There's so many different types of us out there. But for whatever reason, Black women, they keep choosing the same type though. You know what I mean? The degenerate one to lay down with. He's the man of the house at 10. So what he grew up believing? I ain't got to do shit. Because guess what? My mother's buying my Timberlands. She's buying my Jordans. She's doing everything for me here. There's no man around. She's not requiring anything of me. Education is a secondary thought. Because she's not invested in my education. She's invested in my goddamn feet with $250 tennis shoes. Only to walk outside and live in the ghetto amongst other poor motherfuckers with $250 tennis shoes. What sense does that make? Where does that get you? What does that get you? You're poor. Not only are you materialistically poor, you're spiritually poor and you're mentally poor. Because you don't even look around and see your surroundings and see the cycle that's been created for you by your fucking parent. And she doesn't want nothing more for you than just to be a statistic. And we wonder why our young boys are running around here playing Wild Wild West, Indians and cowboys, and getting their dumb ass locked up for 30 years. Oh, because you say you don't need a man, a woman can raise a boy, and y'all know better. Well, how's that working out? So are we surprised that there's cases where mothers are molesting their sons? And these cases are going unreported? Of course there's a ton of cases like that. There's a ton of stories like that where men will only speak up but see, there's a thing that's called shame, embarrassment. Men don't want to be embarrassed because other men will start to judge them and look at them different. But see, these are stories that we are not supposed to be told, or at least I'm not supposed to be telling. My black face is definitely not supposed to be telling, because if anything black women do is supposed to be great. Can't tell them shit beyond reproach. Kings and queens. And I want people today to understand that's bullshit. We need to start judging people on their actions. Fuck what their intentions are. You hear me? Fuck what your intentions are. What does your actions show me? What are your actions? Your actions are going to tell me what the fuck you're about. And if you want to be honest, if you look at the actions of these women in these communities, they ain't about shit. And they cool and content with it. That's why you don't see a whole bunch of women outrage. Oh damn, his mother kissed him in the mouth. Let Gabrielle Union come out and say, my daddy was fucking me when I was 15 because I didn't know how to take a dick. So he wanted to show me how to take a dick. Let Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B or whatever one of these hoes out here come out and reveal some shit that their daddy did to them. Oh, it explains a lot. It explains the promiscuity. It explains why she went into hoeing and being a stripper, because she didn't value herself and she just thought men just, only valued her body. So therefore, that's the reason why she grew up. It's so many fucking excuses they make for women today. It's ridiculous. It's just fucking downright ridiculous at this point in time. It's always a fucking out. It's never no accountability. It's just never none. And even these fucking beta males don't even see it. Jim Jones didn't even see nothing wrong with his mother tongue kissing him, putting her fucking grown ass tongue in his mouth. This is a almost 50 years old man. He won't even say, well, damn, mama, you ain't shit. That's fucked up. I wouldn't do that to my daughter. I wouldn't allow her mother to do that to her or to my son. That's fucked up what you did to me. He doesn't even think about the trauma that it has caused him psychologically. Now, I don't know the man's life, and I don't claim to know the man's life, but I can deduce, looking at it from the outside, looking in to some degree, and I could be wrong, I could be off, but I'm just theorizing. Look at the relationship he had with Chrissy. Long-term relationship, long-time girlfriend. This woman wanted to marry this motherfucker. You don't think she saw that this motherfucker had some type of weird relationship or mama issues, and she got enough, and she said, you know what, look, I need to come out of this, because this shit is a little too weird for me. You sew up your mama ass, and you got to provide for her and take care of her and make sure she good. That ain't your responsibility as a son. Your responsibility as a son isn't to take care of your motherfucking mother. Your responsibility as a man is to go out here and make it in this world and create your own family, not to be your mother's husband's son. To be providing a lifestyle and providing her income in a way for her to survive. That ain't your fucking purpose on this earth. That's never been the man's purpose on this earth. When the fuck did that start? But when you raised by a single mama and you got these beta males you raising up, you got your mama in your ear telling you got to take care of me. If you make it, you get on. You see it all the time. You see the dysfunction. That's the shit I stay away from. I stay away from that shit. Come on, man. I gotta stop with this shit. Molestation is a problem, and yes, boys get molested by their mothers, and it's going unreported in the black community, and it needs to be reported, it needs to be addressed. And just like men, when men are accused and convicted and found guilty of molesting children, whether it's a boy or a girl, they go to jail, they do the time, they get the stigma, they have to register as sex offenders. So do women. You get the same blight that men get. You ain't shit either. You don't get to be around children anymore either. You're a fucked up individual just like the men are that do the same shit. There's no difference because you're a woman. There's nothing feminine about most black women anyway. So I don't understand where all this underreporting shit and why it's not happening. Men, fuck that. Shame the devil, call him a liar. Your mama fucking molested you, come out. I know it ain't easy. I know you might feel ashamed. I know you might be like, damn, if I come out and say something, folks are going to look at you different. Hell, damn that. Think about your future. Think about your psyche, your mental health, how that shit is going to affect you or how it has been affecting you as an adult now. You got to get certain shit off your chest, man. We're the only group of people who will carry this shit with us. And the motherfucker that committed the offense to get us, we got to be around this motherfucker at the cookout, at the barbecue. Got to be around Aunt Karen or Aunt Carol. Knowing she tried to suck your dick when you was 11 years old. Come on, man. Listen, man, I don't promote toxic male masculinity, but I do promote masculinity at all times. And fellas, we got a lot of work to do. Ladies, if you're honest enough, we need y'all too. We need y'all. We need women on board. They're not about this shit. That want to stand on the right side of things. We need balance. Most importantly in our race, in our culture, we need balance. We need everybody to go back to playing their role. I'm not talking to the motherfuckers that are offended by this. I'm not talking to the folks that got an issue with it. If it don't apply, you let it fly. Simple as that. Tired of people in their fucking feelings and feelings. I don't give a fuck how you feel. How you feel don't make me shit. (2022) Stop concentrating on how I motherfucking feel. Fuck feelings. Let's get some work done. If you really about what we saying, we really about what we want to do to be better people for each other, let's get some work done. That's the only way shit is going to change for us. Dressing these boys up like they grown ass men. These your sons. That's not your contemporary. That's not your man to be. That's not your son husband. He shouldn't have to grow up and look like the men or carry himself like the men you want to fuck or the men you want to be in a relationship with. He shouldn't have to grow up and take care of your ass. That ain't a boy's position. Let him be a child. Raise him around his daddy. Pick a dad. Let a man choose you. Be a respectable woman that a respectable man would choose you to marry. Damn, don't y'all get tired of raising these boys alone out of wedlock? Don't y'all get tired of being in the projects and fucking them beta male men that hang around there? Because ain't no real men like me hang around no fucking projects. You'll never find a man like me over there. So the men that you're getting over there are raised in those same conditions, raised in those same areas, raised under the same circumstances, and you wonder why ain't no good black men out here. Well, you're raising beta males under those conditions, and those are the men who's fucking y'all, and y'all just keep the cycle going and going and going, expecting shit to change. And what a shame. Anyway, guys, this is Black Talk Today podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up. Follow me on my main page, the mother page, Black Talk Today. That's the main hub for all my other channels. A lot of good stuff going on over there on other channels. You might find something over there you're interested in that I do, that I promote. Yeah. I want to, again, send my condolences to all of the families who have lost loved ones, that also who are suffering right now in the Bronx, New York, who are involved in that catastrophic fire. I'm sending my condolences. This is Troy. This is Black Talk Today podcast.